Good morning, everyone. What an extraordinary day for all of us here in New York State. We warmly welcome their Majesties King Willem-Alexander and Queen Máxima of the Netherlands. Let's give them a round of applause. We're so happy they're here. The history between this great country and the state of New York goes back so very long. It was in 1609 when Henry Hudson found his way to this great city, creating Albany, which is now our capital. As Henry Hudson traveled up the mighty river, he journeyed across the Haudenosaunee and the Algonquin homelands and interacted with the indigenous peoples, and they finally made their way here. 15 years later, in 1624, at the southern tip of Manhattan, New Amsterdam was formally established. Little did those Dutch settlers know that they were founding what would become one of the greatest cities on earth, New York City. We're a little biased here. 4 centuries is a long time, but our rich tradition and history with the Dutch people has had a palpable influence all across our city. New York City names and landmarks are of Dutch origin: Brooklyn, Harlem, Wall Street, the Bowery, Coney Island. The family homes in Rockaway, Lindenwood, and Albany still draw from the old Dutch style with their sloping gambrel roofs and dormer windows. And Albany's annual Tulip Festival began with a generous gift of 2,000 tulip bulbs from the Netherlands from Queen Wilhelmina in honor of our enduring connection. And our iconic Princess Suite, right upstairs in the Executive Mansion, is named for Princess, later Queen Beatrix of the Netherlands. So we think of your family and the influence for many, many years right in this very building. She stayed in the suite during her visit to Albany back in 1959. Now, like many of the colonies across the American continent, New Netherland was founded upon the values of tolerance, diversity, and open trade. And 400 years later, those same ideals have continued to shape our state. Today, we'll use this opportunity to discuss how we stay true to those core values in our dynamic and globalized world. This historic visit provides an extraordinary opportunity for us to confer with our Dutch partners on our shared economic future. New York and the Netherlands are both global leaders in semiconductor research and development. These microchips are the key to powering today's world. Those who lead the semiconductor renaissance are truly the ones who are shaping our global future. That's why in 2022, New York launched our $10 billion Green Chips Initiative. It quickly led to the largest economic deal in American history, Micron's $100 billion mega fab development right here in upstate New York. But in order to maximize the impact of what we'll be able to achieve here in New York, we have to look beyond our borders. The Netherlands is home to some of the most sophisticated companies in the semiconductor business, while New York is growing a semiconductor superpower with institutions like New York Creates, which we'll be visiting this afternoon. Today, we'll be examining how New York State and the Netherlands will bring historic relationship into the 21st century, yes, one that started back in the 1600s, and how further collaboration between our world-class semiconductor industries will drive innovation and tackle the challenges of today and tomorrow. So it is so clear to all of us gathered here today on this special, special occasion that New York and the Netherlands are linked forever. Their shared history binds us together as partners for today and the future. Like the ship that brought its crew way back in the 1600s, we're charting new waters. Like those first Dutch settlers of New Amsterdam, we're building a legacy that goes far beyond ourselves, one built on inclusiveness and progressivity. And there's no better place to be having these conversations than at the nexus of our shared history here in New York. So without further ado, I'd like to warmly welcome and introduce His Majesty, King Willem-Alexander of the Netherlands, to say a few words about his visit. Thank you.
Governor Hochul, First Gentleman, ladies and gentlemen, it's a very special experience to be here as your guests in New York State. 400 years after the first Dutch colonists arrived on the ship New Netherland. A group of no more than 30 families, some of whom settled on Governor's Island, while a handful of others traveled on what is now the city of Albany. A lot has been written about the influence of the Dutch had on this area, and often in quite flattering terms. Historian Russell Shorter described the 17th century Dutch Republic as the most progressive and culturally diverse society in Europe. And according to him, the colony established here was characterized by freedoms of thought, belief, and trade, features that helped make New York unique. But we now know that this picture doesn't fully reflect the reality of the time. We realize that the perspective of the area's original inhabitants was very different. Their entire way of life was turned upside down, and their freedoms were violated. Today, their descendants are rightly asking that attention be paid to their story. This visit, 400 years after the New Netherlands reached these shores, gives us an opportunity to examine our shared history in all openness and honesty, and to strengthen our cooperation in those areas that mean so much to the State of New York and the Kingdom of the Netherlands: peace, social justice, sustainability, climate action, and development opportunities for all. Governor Hochul, we are very grateful for your hospitality and close involvement in our visits. And we're greatly looking forward to the next 2 days in marvelous New York State, a place where we feel so much at home. Thank you very much.
Thank you.